The Mike Hosking Breakfast with Arvida Retirement Communities. Life your way. Newstalk ZB.
23 minutes away from 8. It is Monday morning. The Prime Minister, Christopher Luxon, is with us. A very good morning to you.
Good morning to you, Mike.
I've got a couple of questions for you that you will not hear on radio anywhere else in this country today.
Unique questions.
Unique questions. I'll come to them in just a couple of moments, but just let me get a couple of news things out of the way to just to tick that box so someone doesn't yell at me and say I didn't cover enough subjects. The LNG thing, is that real, the story this morning?
Yep. I mean, basically for me, it's coming down to the commercial business case. LNG as a commodity will be elevated for a bit. This is about procurement kit to sort of create the flexibility for us as a backup solution.
So you're not cancelling it?
No, well, the answer to me is I'm just brutally going to make a decision on the commercial case. If it doesn't stack up, we won't be doing it.
When are you making that decision?
Well, when the procurement process finishes, which is middle of the year. So there's there's a number of bidders in there. They've got a whole bunch of ideas. Some will be, light touch. Some will be, golden. Engineered, and essentially they've got to make it stack up, and we'll make a call.
Okay, as you sit here this morning, it seems to me, why would you look at something like this? Surely you would know when making a decision like this that gas goes up and down depending on what's happening in the world.
Well, it does. I mean, I remember running an airline on $35 and $140 a barrel of oil, so you do need to look through that because there's the purchase of LNG is one thing, but obviously we've got to make sure we're getting this thing right size and it's fit for purpose. So I genuinely just want to make sure it's the cost benefits there, the business case is right. If it's a good business case, yep, we'll do it. If not, we won't.
Okay, when's that timeline?
I think from memory when we kicked it off, I think it's due middle of June or end of June, somewhere around there. We've got a number of bidders that have come to us with their ideas of how to go about doing it. I imagine there'll be lots of different engineering solutions for that of varying costs. They've got to put their best foot forward. I want them to put their best foot forward and give it really a good go as an option, and then we'll have a look at it.
Okay, Australia, they're going to underwrite some purchases of fuel. Do we need to do that? Potentially.
Yeah, so what that's about is saying, look, you talk to your fuel importing companies, they have all these forward orders. At the moment, all our forward orders are coming in. We've got healthy stocks. We'll update our numbers later on this afternoon, but I suspect we'll be in good shape. And then what
you suspect because you know?
No, I don't know, but I just know that there's been no challenges over the last week or so. So ships have been arriving, and that'll be adding into our stocks. But the second thing I'd say is that you then want to make sure that if there's any incremental additional capacity we can get, we'd like to try and get that now rather than later. And that's like unsolicited bids over and above fuel that we're already getting, from the fuel orders that are coming out of the importing companies. So this is us being quite opportunistic, and certainly that's a conversation that we're up for as well, and we are thinking about that. But again, how you structure those deals so New Zealand doesn't get screwed and all of that is kind of important.
Okay, so last week when we were talking about this, you're going to ring Lawrence Wong,
yep.
And you have. I don't know that you were asked specifically about it, but did your phone calls with the Koreans, the Malaysians or Singapore elicit something tangible that would serve us well beyond what we've got currently as regards petrol?
What I'm trying to do in those calls is put New Zealand top of mind. They're getting hit with lots of calls, I imagine, from people who are getting very anxious, and I'm reminding them of our comprehensive strategic partnership upgrades that we've done. So we've got highest levels of partnership that we can have. In the case of Singapore, we're very much committed to, and even though we'll sign it in May, we're already operating under it, which is our essential supplies piece. So I think they were very positive conversations. Again, if you're prime ministers and presidents of those countries that have refineries in those countries that they don't, some are privately owned, some are publicly owned, some are a combination. It's really about those refineries out there in the world hustling to find alternative sources of crude oil to bring to their refineries. And some of them start looking to Canada, they start looking to Chile, Peru, other countries around the world. And it's they're very good at that. They're big oil companies. Yeah. They know where big sources of oil could be still in the system. But you've seen other countries it's also been interesting because you talk to these countries and they all have slightly different starting points from where we are. We are relatively well organised. We've got a great ministerial group all over it, like a RASH meeting, once or three times a day. We've got good supplies, much higher levels of stock, say, than the Australians have and others have. You go to places like Malaysia, Slovenia. I was talking to the European president. They've all got different systems where they've been underwriting fuel and therefore they're now massively exposed. They've all got sets of dramas. So, our job is one, secure fuel supply. Yes, it's going to be expensive, but secure it. So that's what kills jobs. Two, if you have to get down a road where you've got to make choices about who gets that fuel, put that framework in place. That was what Friday was about.
Yeah.
And three, make sure you can support Kiwis, but learn the lessons from COVID and do not repeat them.
You will know more about this than I do, but what I've been unable to work out in my mind, there's still 80% of the world out there, oil out there, so 20% hummus, so there's 80% still out there. The Saudi Arabian pipeline is up to 9 million barrels a day.
Yep.
Can we realistically hustle our way through this? In other words, the world is not lacking oil. Yes, we'll pay more for it, but the supply is there.
Yeah, you're right. So I think that's the issue that I'm thinking about in 3 months' time, frankly, is that the oil is there. The question is a logistical supply chain one, which is when hostilities cease, you're going to be producing oil. Then you've actually got to store it. There's a whole bunch of storage that's already taking place. The storage tanks are maxed out in the region. Then you've got to get it from storage facility into ships. Then you've got, last account I heard there was 3,600 ships stuck in the Hormuz. Typically, you do 125 passages through the Hormuz Strait a day. Currently, there's 3 ships moving a day of dodgy places. So there's just I'm just saying, it's sort of like an elephant, like how you digest that change in the supply chain and how it works its way through. That's what I'm thinking is what will cause ultimately a disruption to supply, which we want to have our head in the game ready to deal with.
Do you worry? There were a couple of forecasts from the banks last week. Q2 is now going backwards. Housing is flat for the year. Do you worry this will reflect on you in election year, or do you believe that people will see it for what it is? And it's not your fault.
Look, I get it, Mike. I think we're all fatigued and tired and we're over it, right? We went through COVID, recession, inflation, tariffs, weather events. Now we're dealing with this issue. I honestly, I just don't give that any thought. What I'm focused on is making sure I'm doing the very best I can to help get Kiwis through what's another crisis and another challenge. I do want to minimise the impact on inflation. I do want to minimise the impact on growth. I acknowledge there will be a hit to both. But I'm not being naive about that. But we are in better shape dealing with it now than we were 3 months ago when we had a strengthening of our financials a week before the conflict. We're better than we were 2 years ago dealing with 7.3% inflation. But I've just got to manage, I've got to manage the crisis well, right?
Yep.
That's essentially what New Zealanders expect me to do.
So I get a letter this morning. Morning, Mike. I know you via a client that I attend to in the morning. I enter her home and hear her voice coming from her bedroom. You are one of her constant companions. I'm worried her in her home support, she's a home support worker, may not be able to attend to her needs, and she will have to lay listening to you waiting for help to come. Now, I'm not playing the violin on that. What I'm saying is that of all the people who have their hand out asking for money at the moment, that would strike me as one of the better cases.
There are groups of people that we are thinking about how best to deliver support to. When we deliver that support, again, we've got to do it timely, targeted and temporary. That's a big learning out of COVID. We've got to keep an eye on making sure we're minimising impacts on inflation and growth. That's big learning out of COVID. And we've actually got to get it to the people who genuinely are going to need it. Because I've said up front, I'm sadly, given the state of our finances, we're not going to be able to alleviate the pressure off everybody. This is not COVID 2.0. People are not going to be sitting at home baking sourdough. The kids are going to school. That's why it's business as usual at the moment.
So she has a case.
I think there's a number of cases of people that we have already started to talk about how could we get support to them. But again, we've got it when we develop the detail of a package. It has to be sensible. We cannot do the cash bazooka that we saw through COVID period that caused pain and suffering down the road.
So I was in Christchurch on Friday.
I heard first time you'd left your home or your studio since 1996?
As indeed were you. It is hard, correct me if I'm wrong, it is hard to overstate the value of the stadium to people in Christchurch.
Yeah, look, I think Christchurch, there's a lot going on in Christchurch of interest to me with respect to the whole of New Zealand. You've got a city that's built with modern, new, reliable infrastructure. You've got consistent, moderate, slow house growth that's going faster than people's wages, so it's affordable. You've got great institutions down there, rebuilt university. You've got an engineering school that's spinning off innovations like Dawn Aerospace. We've got a launch pad down there for rockets. You've got a brand new stadium there. That stadium, for every dollar we spent trying to bring attractions there, whether it's Robbie Williams or 660 or whatever it is, drives $3.20 back into local bars, hotels, hospitality sector. So it is truly a world-class venue. It's amazing, Mike. The seats are right on the edge. You'll be able to hear the line-out calls. And I'm just proud as a Christchurch lad. I know, it's actually the resilience of that city is what that was what that stadium represents.
Exactly right. Couldn't agree more. So I'm sitting on the plane. I rushed to the airport to come back.
Yeah.
And things take longer. That screening process at the airport's a bit slow. So anyway, I'm rushing back. I'm busting.
Are people talking to you at this point in time?
There were some people talking to me.
Selfies. They
there
must
were
have
some
gone
selfies,
bananas seeing Mike Hosking on the road.
More importantly, I was busting to go to the toilet.
Oh.
So I look through the screening and I see the gate 19.
Yeah.
It's boarding. I think I better get on board. So I get on board. It's 10 to 3. This is the 3 o'clock. It's 10 to 3 sitting on board. I thought I can last an hour and a half. I'll be okay.
Got a strong bladder. Yeah.
So I'm on the plane.
All those supplements
I'm thinking we're going to take off on time. It's going to be fantastic. This is the story of Air New Zealand. It's going to take off on time. Then they say we're waiting for some cargo. Were you that cargo?
No.
Were you on the 3 o'clock?
I think I was on the 4, wasn't I?
Were you, when you drove through Auckland, were you in your I-7 driving back to Auckland at about 5 o'clock at night?
Yeah, I think I was.
You were on the 3 o'clock.
Was I on the 3 o'clock?
You were on the 3 o'clock.
I was on time in full, my friend.
You held me in my...
Oh, I'm not having you start that at all. That is completely unfair. That's just media.
Do they hold the plane
misinformation.
For you? How long would they hold the plane for?
Mate,
you?
they hold the plane. The rule is, and when I was at Air New Zealand, it was the same. You do not hold the plane for me, my family, nobody. That plane goes on time in full. You've only got 3 jobs running an airline: defy gravity, get people from A to B safely is always job number 1.
Okay.
2, preferably with their bags, would be nice, and 3, on time.
Okay,
and if we can make money at the end of it, that would be nice.
There we go. Nice to see you. Prime Minister is 12 minutes away from 8.
The Golden Triangle, the engine room of New Zealand business. And right in the heart of it, Rangiuru Business Park. 10 hectares of industrial land has already sold within